Alright, what's going on, guys? It's Two Tones here, and in today's video, guys, I'm going to be going ahead and telling you guys the top 10 best consumables that you can use in any single tower, and I'm talking these work in most towers, like the majority of the towers. So the criteria for this best list, right, is this is going to be the best overall consumables for the majority of towers, right? So you may have a consumable that works really well on this one specific tower that only shows up every like 10 years or something stupid, you know what I'm saying? But these consumables work on the majority of towers, and they're very, very, very reliable. Some of them are rare, but if you have them, you will have a better time in all of your towers. You will have a better time in the gauntlet. You will just have a better time in general. And yeah, I'm going to go ahead and break this into two sections, right? The first section is going to be the whole tower consumables. Top 5 whole towers. That's why, as you can see on the screen right now, we are looking at the whole towers, because in just a moment, I'm going to tell you guys the top 5 in descending order as well. Starting with 5 being the worst of the best, and 1 being the best of the best in these whole consumable tower, in the whole tower consumables. Then we're going to go into the actual best list for the single fight. I think these are much more useful. I think these are the better consumables overall. So without further ado, guys, make sure you're leaving a comment in today's video talking about your favorite personal consumable, and if my favorite consumable matched your favorite consumable, make sure you're leaving a like. If you're new to the channel, also go ahead and leave a like and consider subscribing. Getting really, really, really close to 1,000 subscribers, so we'd love to have you over here in the community. So without further ado, guys, let's jump in to the actual list here and talk about the whole tower consumables. So starting off with number 5 in the whole tower consumables, I have a consumable called distilled magma. Now, you guys might be thinking, like, why are you using distilled magma when there's all these other consumables that are much better? Well, I think this one is the best. So basically, the description for this is increases the damage dealt by fire-based consumables. So when you have a challenge or a tower where you have to kill your opponents very, very quickly, and you might have to, you know, take care of business and super duper fast, like I just said, you put this one on, and then you put on fire consumables, the ones that make your fist flame, right? And then every hit you do to the opponent is like 10,000 fold, so much damage. I have never seen a tower get finished faster than this consumable plus fire consumables in the single fight. But it comes in at number 5 just because it is kind of more of a niche consumable here. You're not going to need this every single time you go ahead and jump into a tower, but in the instance that you have to kill an enemy extremely quickly, I'm just gonna say this is one of the best combo consumables in the game. That's why it comes in at number 5. But moving on to number 4, we have the Orb of the Dragon King, which is over here. Now, the Orb of the Dragon King is very standard, very, you know, basic right here. Begin the match with a fatal blow available, right? So say you have those challenges in the gauntlet, right, where you have to end the match in a fatal blow. Instead of letting the fucking robot get you down to fatal blow territory, right, and possibly do their own fatal blow, which does crazy amounts of damage and could possibly kill you, go ahead and put on the Orb of the Dragon King and then kick the robot's ass until you get to a point where you can finish their life off with your fatal blow. And since you have the fatal blow the whole match, boom, finish that match with a fatal blow, and there you go. The Orb of the Dragon King also comes in handy when you need to do a lot of damage really quickly before, you say, a timer runs out. It's just a really good overall consumable. I think it outweighs the distilled magma by just a little bit, and I ended up using it more than the distilled magma. That's why I had to put it a little bit higher on the list. Definitely a sick consumable here. But moving on to number 3, we have the Godstone. Now, the Godstone I used quite a bit in my gauntlet run, and I use it when there is a challenging boss that I have to finish, or maybe the entire tower has a bunch of floor hazards, which are like the little hands that grab you. Say you're doing like a dark heavy tower and there's a bunch of the hands that grab you, or like sometimes it affects the totems as well, this Godstone will disable all of the floor hazards for the entire match. It's actually very, very, very nice, especially if you are getting, you know, grabbed a lot by the hands, or something from the ground is messing with you or popping you up, or like the fucking earthquake. So like if the earthquake is getting you a lot, you throw this one on and boom, there you go. You should be done. Also using a few single fight consumables and you will take care of any of those towers very, very quickly. But that's why that comes in at number 3. I used it quite a bit in my gauntlet run and in various towers inside of the Towers of Time when I'm just kind of, you know, browsing through. And oh, this one is a little bit more challenging because it has the hands that come up and grab you, or maybe the earthquake or any of that kind of stuff. Boom, throw this one on and take care of business. And it affects the entire tower too. So if that stuff is ramping toward the very top where it's just completely obnoxious, you all know what I'm talking about, this will disable it for the entire match. You don't even have to deal with it. So yeah, Godstone, very underrated consumable here. Super duper awesome. But there are 2 consumables, I think, in the whole tower consumables that outrank it, that do just a little bit better than it. So we're going to go ahead and move on to the next one, which is coming in at number 4. We have the Cleansing Stone. Now, the Cleansing Stone, I mean, the description says it all, right? The description of the Cleansing Stone is disables weather conditions for the entire match for the whole tower. So every match, right? You guys know the raining ice that freezes you solid while you're fighting Sub-Zero, or the thunder when you're fighting a Raiden boss that freezes you in place and makes it so that you can't move, and then every move that the Raiden does is like a million times more damage. Anything that comes from the sky, besides rockets, because we'll get into the rockets here in a second, but will be stopped by the Cleansing Stone. It's just so nice, so good. If you guys are having trouble with a tower that is a lot of weather conditions, like the lightning or the the snow, I can't think of much at the moment, but this is the one you need to put on because it will disable all of those and just make your day so much easier and get through those gauntlet stages or get through that hard tower that you're trying to get through. Consider using the Cleansing Stone. It's a really, really good one. But moving on to the best whole tower consumable in the game, we have AMS. I mean, it wasn't really even a competition. AMS disables the rockets for the entire match, right? If you are trying to do a challenging thing in the gauntlet or a challenging match in any tower and there are rockets, the rockets are the most obnoxious thing in the Towers of Time, I swear to God. And everybody out there, you can agree with me in the comment section that the rockets are just too much. And this consumable right here, AMS, disables rockets for the entire match and it lasts the whole tower. Now if this was a single fight consumable, it would still be really high up there, right? Because I mean, who wants to deal with the fucking rockets? But it is a whole tower consumable, so you only have to use one and it affects the entire tower, man. It's so good. It's definitely one of the best consumables in the game, and it is, in my opinion, the best whole tower consumable in the entire game. No question, no nothing. It's just really, really good, guys. And if you're having trouble, literally the last stage of the gauntlet, stage 30, is not possible without AMS attached. So just take that into consideration. The hardest gauntlet stage, hardest in quotation marks, you use AMS to beat. So I think that deserves number 1 or number 5, however you guys want to consider that, you know, in my book. I just think it's so good and you guys should give it a try. But moving on to single fight consumables, this is where we get into the good stuff, because these, in my opinion, to be a good single fight consumable, you have to do a lot of things really well. You have to do a lot of damage, you have to heal a whole lot, you have to stun for a long time, and you have to set up the use of your other consumables, right? So that's the criteria that I went with while making the top 5 you know, single fight consumables. So, I mean, without further ado, let's just jump into it. With the number 5, we have Hyper Focused Soul Regenerator, right? This one right here. I used this consumable so much in my gauntlet run, and it made my life, and it will make your lives, a heck of a lot easier. The Hyper Focus Soul Regenerator regenerates 100% health. So if you were on Magic Pixel and you're getting harassed, you can activate this. And the best thing about this too is you can activate this consumable without letting go of block. Some of the consumables you have to let go of block to activate because your character has to do an animation. Not the hyper focused what's it called, health, right? So we have the Soul Regenerator, Focus Soul Regenerator, and Hyper Focus Soul Regenerator. All three of these go hand in hand, but by far the best one is the Hyper Focus Soul Regenerator because it gives you 100% health. If you are on a tricky stage and you just get beat up right when you first start, as soon as you start the match, pop this Hyper Focus Soul Regenerator and maybe even combo that with like Ethereal Armor, and you can do so much damage and still remain at 100 health, your whole health bar, before they can even do anything. It's just super duper nice. But yeah, that one comes in at number 5. Super duper amazing, 100% health over 20 seconds. It's too good, and it only uses one slot. I almost went with this Crystal of Life because it instantly gives you 50 health, right? Which is another, it's really good. It instantly gives you 50 health, right? Super duper awesome. No hassle, no worries. But you have to let go of block to activate it, and it's only 50. So Hyper Focused Soul Regenerator will give you your entire health bar back over 20 seconds, as opposed to an instant 50, but again, you have to let go of block, and it's just not as good in the long run, because in that moment while you're letting go of block, dude, you get smacked. Those robots, they don't have any chill. They will destroy you if you're not blocking. So this is just the better healing consumable there is. I mean, it's awesome. I think I had something like 40 before I started my gauntlet run, and I am only at 2. I was at 0. I was 100% at 0 and had to resort to using this Focus Soul Regenerator to, you know, try and get through those last few stages of the gauntlet and, you know, any of the Towers of Time. But, yeah, recently I've gotten 2 more, and I'm just stacking them up. I don't even know what the consumables are for anymore, but if you're trying to get through the gauntlet, this is never a bad choice. Never, ever. So, moving on to number 4 here, we have Water God's Artifact, right? So, the Water God's Artifact is a giant wave that is full screen that pushes your opponent full screen, right? So, if you're in a really hard stage, a really hard tower, a really hard level, and you are very consumable based, right? So you're just waiting for your consumables to recharge so you can use them again. Let's say maybe you're using the Melina Sai or the Severed Head and you're just trying to do that good damage, you know what I'm saying? This is a perfect consumable for you, and I used it so much. So what it does is it launches your opponent full screen, giving your other consumables time to recharge, to fill back up so that you can use them to do the damage that you need to. It's just a great kind of buddy consumable to your other ones, and I used it. I discovered it late into my gauntlet run and into my whole Towers of Time kind of career, I guess. So I haven't used it as much, but in the short time that I have used it, it has become one of my favorites just because it launches them full screen. So you have so much time to, and it recharges fairly quickly, right? So if they do block it, it comes back quick enough that you can launch them back. And if you're in a juggle, like if the robot has you in a combo, you can activate this while you're in midair, while you're falling, while you're taking damage. It does not matter. The wave will come out, which is perfect. So if they're hitting you, they're not blocking, right? So you can just throw this out there. Super duper effective, and it just does everything you want it to do. It's a perfect consumable for exactly what you want. So that's why it comes in at number 4. Going ahead and moving on to number 3, we gotta have Sector's homing missile, right? So this homing missile, I mean, it homes, right? So if you're trying to get that last bit of damage and you're using something like the Severed Head or the Bloodied Sai, Melina Sai, or maybe these Reiko Shuriken, right? This stuff can whiff. It can whiff 100%. They can duck it. They can jump over this head. It comes out pretty quickly, but if they're in the middle of the air or they teleport, not going to happen. You're not going to hit them. But the homing missile does exactly what it says. It homes in on them and tracks them and will hit them no matter what. It does good damage, and it is a fire-based elemental effect, right? So if you then put on this distilled magma, you're just going to be doing so much damage. In the meantime, you know, you also have your hyper-focused soul regenerator giving you the health back, and maybe something like the wave to push them away so that you can really use this homing missile with the fire-based increased damage, and you are just going to kill any tower that you are having trouble with. I think it's a really good one, and that's why it comes in at number 3. Now, coming in at number 2, we have the Cyber Snare. Now, the Cyber Snare, it just, I mean, what else could you want? I mean, there's only one other better consumable than the Cyber Snare, and we're about to talk about it. But this, I mean, if you didn't have the number 1, this is number 1. This is the second best consumable in the game, and it is the Cyber Snare. So if you're in the air and they've just launched you, Cyber Snare. If you are in the back of the map and you need them to stay away, Cyber Snare. If if you are needing to finish your opponent off but can't get close, Cyber Snare. There's just too many good attributes of this consumable to have it anything less than second or first place. It could be first place, no joke, but there's just a few better attributes of the next thing that kind of, yeah. Anyway, so the Cyber Snare, it can anti-air them if they're jumping. It does damage when it hits. It's a huge, long stun duration. You just have so much time to recover your other consumables or get in and do a combo before you have to retreat. Maybe then throw out your God's Water artifact and push them back. Get your snare. You know, it synergizes so well with so many other consumables that it is impossible to not have here. It does good damage when it hits, it does a very long stun duration, and it recharges very, very quickly. I mean, it's easy mode. When you have this consumable on, it is easy mode in any tower that you're going to do, especially if you get your consumables synergizing really well, right? So you say you have the Cyber Snare, the Water Guards artifact, and then the homing missile, right? Push them away, with the God's Water artifact, let your net and your missile recharge. If he gets too close still, hit him with the net, and that will stun him even longer while also doing damage. And then by the time the net is over, you have the homing missile, right? So you fire the homing missile. That does pushback, right? So the pushback pushes them back even more, and by that time your Water Guard's artifact, or God's artifact, is up again, and you can use that again to push them back. The net, it's just an awesome looping consumable, and it's really, really good, guys. If you don't have this one or haven't tried it, give this bitch a try. It will take care of most of the things that you were having trouble with. And I ended up using, like, I think it was like 46 of these in my gauntlet run. It was just, and each time I used it, it made the thing so much better. But there is another consumable in this list that is not much better, but outranks it by just a bit, and that is Broken Quiver. Now, Broken Quiver, I mean, it's faster than the net, it stuns for longer than the net, and it does more damage than the net. That's really the only reason that this Broken Quiver, Kung Jin's arrow, is better than Cyber Snare. Just because it does a little bit more damage, it stuns for a little longer, and it's faster. It comes out faster. The net is a little slow, like the robots. I mean, if they were a human being, they could jump over it. But the quiver, this quiver is so incredibly hard to react to. It just is too good. Like, it really is too good. It comes out so fast, and if they whiff any attack, this will hit, right? So say they're at the back of the map doing something, right, or walking up to you, this will hit them. If they throw out a punch and you block it, and you see the punch and you read it and you do this consumable, it will block it, or I mean, it will punish them for it, and then boom, they're stuck there, and they are stuck there for so long. You could write a book, you could go make yourself a sandwich, you could do an entire other tower, and then come back and they're still stunned. It's just too good. So literally, I'm going to describe to you guys what I did for stage 30 of the gauntlet here, right? So I had Broken Quiver, Cyber Snare, and Hyper-Focused Soul Regenerator for the last stage. And I think I had AMS, no rockets, and I did not get touched, guys. I literally did not get touched by the last stage. I beat it the first try. That's how good these consumables are together, and that's how good these consumables are in general, right? So the Broken Quiver, I used it to stun him. Then I used this to stun him as well, and I would knock him back with one of my moves, right? So I was using Scorpion at the time, so I would do forward 3, 4, and that pushes them full screen. Then Geras would get up and start approaching, so I'd hit him with the quiver. That would hit him with... Oh, and it's so fast recharging, too. I forgot to say that, but it recharges really, really quickly. So I would hit him with the quiver. They would get stunned. Then I would throw out a net. They would get stunned. And all this does damage, too, right? So I literally didn't get touched by the final big bad boss of the gauntlet because of these consumables, specifically because Broken Quiver and Cyber Snare. I could have even not had my healing consumable, but it's always good to have a healing consumable, and I hadn't seen it yet, so I just threw it on. I could have gotten away with even having the homing missile on there, you know what I mean? So these consumables will save you time. These consumables will save you heartache and rage. They are too good. They are just 100% too good, and you need to start implementing them into your towers, or if you're doing the gauntlet right now, consider using some of these for your run through the gauntlet. So just a little rundown of what we got here. We have Distilled Magma, which is a whole tower consumable. We have Orb of the Dragon King, another whole tower consumable. Godstone, another whole tower consumable. Cleansing Stone, which is another one, and AMS, which disables rockets. Those are the whole tower consumables, the best of the best for the whole tower consumables. Then we have single fight consumables. We have the Hyper Focus Soul Regenerator, just an awesome healing consumable. We have Water God's Artifact, a pushback consumable that just has, like, it's just too good. Then we have Homing Missile, another really, really good one. Cyber Snare and Broken Quiver being the best consumables in the game, with a close third. In the stunning department, there is a close third, right, which is Gourd of the 8 Immortals, which is a Bo Raicho fart, but I really have a hard time putting Bo Raicho in any circumstance, anywhere on a top 5 list of anything. So, yeah, it's probably the third best stun in the game. And then after that, if you still don't have any of these, right, then you can use the Crown of the Fallen Prince, which is Rain's thing. It captures them. And I think that's it for stuns. But yeah, guys, make sure you're using these consumables in your towers and using them effectively, and they will literally, it's easy mode. It seriously is easy mode. If you have a hard tower, try putting some of these consumables to use and try doing some of the whole tower consumables, and it's not even a big deal. It just takes time at that point, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. If one of your favorite consumables was not on this list, put it in the comment section below. I want to see your guys' lists. And yeah, guys, have a great and fantastic day. Love you guys. Stay cool.